Hi guys, and welcome to today's weigh-in video for this month. Sorry there hasn't been too much content this month. I was looking back and it was like an ant update, a weigh-in update, 3 videos, then another ant update, and now this. So I know there hasn't been a much, but it's basically a combination of 2 things: hot weather and Pokemon Go. So if there's hot weather in England, you've got to embrace it because it would be gone in no time. We had a heat wave which went up to like 32 degrees Celsius, and then the next day it completely dropped. So you really have to embrace these days. So anyway, I'm hoping I'll do more regular videos over August, so look out for that. But for today's video we're going to start off with Isla. Now Isla still hasn't laid her eggs. Yesterday I caught her sort of digging-ish. So I thought maybe she was going to lay them then, but she isn't, and her appetite has been amazing. She's been eating so much, but I do think I should probably feed her a little more often and then she'll gain some weight, because I do still think she's kind of small. It wouldn't surprise me if she's actually lost a bit of weight, even though she's been eating so much, because she just seems very dainty. So last month she was 31 grams. Everyone get your predictions ready. Oh my goodness, you have dropped some weight. Okay, come back in here. 28 grams. I did think she'd lost weight. Oh no, it says 27 now. It's stuck on 27. Wow, okay, 4 grams. So I think what I'm going to have to do with her throughout August is make sure she has new food either every day or every other day. Probably every day, because she is losing quite a lot of weight here, so that's kind of worrying. Now for Lyra. So last week Lyra actually turned 2. Her body actually looks kind of slim, but she is quite a nice chunky crested gecko. Last month she was 39 grams. It really hadn't changed. She went 39, 38, 39. So I don't know what to expect here. Right, this is always a struggle, isn't it? No, she's now upside down. Okay. Oh my goodness, 36? She has made quite a drop. She hasn't been this weight since February actually, when we started all of this. So, crested geckos are losing 3, well, she's lost 3 grams, Isla's lost 4. I wonder if it's something to do with the weather, like it's been quite warm. Maybe I need to feed them a little more often. We shall do that. Now we have Gizmo. So you may notice the scales have moved. Every single one I did, I kept the scales in the perfect same position, so it would be fine for this film. And then I went to review the footage, and for some reason Gizmo's section did not record. So I've had to come back later to record it. And so obviously I already know her weight. So basically last month she was 45 grams and I weighed her today and she's 49. So if you remember, I said in the last episode it's a turning point. It seems like each year June is that turning point. They get to the lowest point and then they start to gain weight. So she hasn't laid any more eggs. She was digging a lot more, but there were no other signs that she was going to lay eggs, and her appetite has been amazing. She's pretty much eaten anything I've put in front of her. So it's good to see she's gained 4 grams, and I hope that continues. I'm probably going to feed her maybe a little bit more frequently, because with the females I've been feeding them like the normal adult schedule of every 3 to 4 days, but I don't think it will hurt to just increase that a little bit as they're building their body back a little bit, especially with Gizmo and Minnie, who you'll see in a minute. Also, if we compare her weights from February to July from last year and compare that with this year's, you can see there's a pattern. Her weight seems to really dip to the lowest point in June, and then it starts to raise up again in July. So it's always good and handy to have this information so you can always refer back and notice a common pattern with your gecko. So now for Ziggy. Ziggy is a beast of all my females. You can see she always looks amazing whether she's eating or not. Her tail always looks good. She was 66 grams last month and she has been eating loads. Once again, not every day, nothing like that, but she has been eating pretty much everything I offer her, and she particularly likes mealworms. Mealworms aren't the healthiest, but you know, it's part of a varied diet, so it's alright. So I think she would have gained weight. I hope she has. But let's see, so she was 66 grams last month, and she is, let's get you in the centre more because that won't weigh properly. Okay, it's saying 64. So she's lost 2 grams. How is it when she's not eating, she somehow gains 2 grams, and when she eats for a whole month, she loses 2 grams? Do geckos make sense to anyone? Honestly, they don't to me. Next up we have Minnie. I don't know if you noticed this, but I do change this in the weighing thing, and I do wash my hands between holding different geckos. Not everyone does that with their reptiles, but I think it's just safe. It's better safe to be sorry. So Minnie has been eating a lot more on her own, and what I mean by that is usually, like for the previous month I guess, it can take a lot of persuading to get her to eat. Like, she is quite a tricky gecko, and sometimes I can sit there for 30 to 40 minutes just trying to get her to eat a few crickets or mealworms or something like that. So it takes a lot of dedication sometimes, but this month she has been actively eating on her own. Like, I just have to go up to her with food, and she's been hand fed, because a lot of the time she's been eating mealworms. It's just easier for me to hold them, and a few times she has hunted down some crickets, but she never goes far because I do have to assist her a bit because of her dodgy eye. But she actually was so enthusiastic about the mealworms this month, or maybe it's a cricket this month, she bit the top of my thumb. Like, my entire top of my thumb was in her mouth, and there wasn't even a tiny mark on it. I know I did a biting video with Gizmo, and a lot of people said, you know, that was a nip, that wasn't a proper bite. But my geckos aren't naturally aggressive or anything, so it's hard for them to, show an aggressive bite. But during hunting, when they're hunting to kill prey, and they take your entire thumb in their mouth and there's still not a mark on your hand, like, I know geckos can draw blood, but I think for the like majority of time, if you do get bitten by a gecko, it doesn't really hurt. I know some people are like, yes it does. I guess every gecko is different. I guess some males, for instance, would be slightly more aggressive. But yeah, I've never, only once Gizmo's drawn blood, and the bite was like 1 millimeter. It was tiny. So if you're thinking about getting a gecko, honestly, you'll get a worse bite from a guinea pig than a gecko. Anyway, so Minnie's been eating, she was 49 grams last month. I really hope she's gained some weight, even if it's a gram or 2. I want her to go back in the right direction. I want her in the 50s. So let's put her in here. Oh, that flipped from 2 very different weights then. So I'm just going to make sure her tail's in here. Get your whole body in. 50 grams. Okay, so it's only a gram, but I definitely feel like, once again, I'm going to increase the amount she's being fed. I think I'm doing that for every gecko in this room. And finally, we have Diego. This is why he's called the Beast. Look at him. He's massive. He has been eating just like normal, like he always would. He eats everything, so nothing strange there. I never worry about his weight really, because he always eats, he always looks great, so it's all good. So last month he was 92 grams. I don't really think he would have gained too much. It's nothing out of the ordinary has happened with him, so let's see. So let's pop him in here. 94 grams. That's pretty good going. 2 extra grams. Yeah, so I'm never worried about Diego. I just kind of feel like every gecko in this, I've been saying, really need to increase their feeding. I wonder though if it's anything to do with how hot it's been. Maybe their metabolism has increased a bit, so there's that. Because you'll find in winter they will slow down with eating as well because as the temperature drops, so it's an interesting juggle with leopard geckos. But yeah, if you think it'd be cool for me to do this all year round, I kind of like that I can update you guys on the entire month and how they've been doing, and then we see their weights, and then hopefully we can collect data from all around the year and see how much their weight fluctuates. For Diego in particular, it's really been nothing at all, but with the females, it's a lot different story. So if we quickly recap how their weight has each changed by looking at like a line chart I'll make, it's quite interesting. It really varies from gecko to gecko. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Diego's making an escape for it. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and goodbye.